Right.
knowledge.
Right.
The internal standardization the activity is the combination of both. It is
Right.
Oh, okay. My friend is company president of construction. He is mainly engaged in the Chinese market, and he said, okay, just the building design detail chart, the manual, and he told me he doesn't worry about they're going to get those materials in Chinese company. He said, specific, area, we can write it down, but that is not we can tell that into document. We cannot. But this is our technology, he said. So maybe some area, because it looks like a very, document is make a copy to building bill. But he said this Chinese company cannot even get a copy of this design sheet and worksheet, but they cannot make it the same as Japanese company doing. He said that this is impossible to making into the
And maybe undesirable because otherwise it's just a matter of copy and paste for
yeah,
them to
this
make
is the same as Europe and America, is it? Some specification they can't write it down. But that means Japanese portion is more larger than European people.
But there is of course in every project, like the same thing would hold true if you are going to, and I think that there is a cultural difference within Europe. But if you're going to implement ERP software, then there is just so much that you're going to specify up front. Then the remaining work, the remaining 20%. That is something that needs to be negotiated and discussed on the work floor, where all the implicit information lies. The people, the managers, have no idea what's happening on the floor in every point of detail. They don't know what happens if people go to the toilet when they leave the conveyor belt. So that level of detail that cannot and should not be specified, because it's basically not efficient to make it 100% transparent. That is something that is just more efficient and more pragmatic to be discussed, to left open for discussion.
Okay, he said one point on this drawings. Okay, if Chinese company copy it, and but the Chinese people don't care about making that building based on drawing, and noise is leaking downstairs or upstairs without our knowledge, our secret skill. But he told me Chinese people don't care if leaking noise up and down. So that's a copy of the drawing. They could make it, but Japanese is never leaking the noise downstairs, up floor. But they don't care. This means that they can make a copy. But I think this sort of things that European people, they should have that portion. But maybe he said process, and Japanese case is too much concerned about specialized each field, each area. But that should not be more. I don't tell you we can eliminate everything, but we should more simplify as people the job. But I don't know how to do this.
Right. So people in Japanese organizations, they well, especially in lifetime employment, or people are more connected and committed to an organization. They become indispensable, and that's what we want, because we want people to become specialists in the organization. They need to know everything there's to know about the organization, and people have a tendency to make themselves indispensable, also in Western society. So if we IT people who have a very specific knowledge, or who sit on maybe something that nobody studies anymore, it's an old technology, but there's still a market for it. Make yourself indispensable. It's logical, but it is the area where consultants like Accenture are looking for to cut it down. I think there is much less opportunity in Western society because of standardization. We were discussing about this so I work in the Minpak field, and as you know, recently a new law has been introduced by the government, and prior to the implementation, prior to the law getting into effect on June 15th, they were negotiating with Airbnb in Booking.com, and I know one of the people who was involved in this negotiation. And what I heard from them throughout the negotiation, because this took months, that basically it's not going to be that, it's not going to have that much impact, and it's a good thing. It will regulate things, and it will take things out of the like underground, and making it official, become an official part of the economy. So it's only good news and no worries. That okay, so what do you advise us to do as hosts? Should we already start to apply for licenses or not? And better wait a little bit. And apparently these discussions have been going on for months, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks before the law kicks into effect, there is a big brouhaha, because all of a sudden the government contacts Airbnb and says, "Oh, you need to cancel all reservations for all places who do not have a license yet." What? All of a sudden, it turns out that these people have been negotiating with each other and have been very implicit throughout the entire negotiation process. And then all of a sudden, it turns out that the side of the government has had a complete different idea of the reality than the likes of Airbnb and Booking.com, who probably had Japanese representatives, I assume, during negotiation, but also involvement with Westerners, and the person that I know was a Westerner. So I think this is a very clear example as to how two sides can have a complete different understanding, and how they can discuss a topic without becoming very concrete and direct. Okay, so what are we going to do, without making a clear agenda, and then being completely taken by surprise about how the other side actually feels about the entire process, and completely oblivious about their true intention.
At this moment, I have no idea what actually happens behind. And if we see the event which you can see from a news source, it seems like very sudden, and the discussion process it was totally the secret.
Yes, well, it is absolutely clear from what I've heard and what I saw, that there was a complete misunderstanding, a complete disengagement, probably lack of trust between both sides, and both sides did not really want to touch the key issues and make them explicit. So what I assume is that these discussions have remained still very abstract, but it didn't mean that they didn't have concrete ideas to begin with, but just they have not been put on the table and made concrete. Now this kind of negotiation is something that I think that Airbnb and Booking.com failed in actually soliciting a clear and open exposure of the intentions of the government, because that's what they should have done. Maybe they thought, okay, well, I don't know, better not rock the boat, and as long as they are not making their threats concrete, then probably it's not going to be that severe. But it was so severe, and the fact that they didn't mention it didn't change anything. Actually, now they were no longer in control, and they just needed to follow what the government was forcing them to do.
For me,
there was absolutely no trust between both sides.
So even for me, the situation about the Airbnb was somehow very very severe and very I can say aggressive on the Japanese government side. But at the same time, I feel like there may be some kind of issues behind, and it is not possible to disclose to the discussion. Okay, so the situation between Airbnb and Japanese government because of that issue is belong to some kind of like a national security or whatever. So yeah, this is my just guess. So but so.
Well, there is one side who was one side was not at the table. That was the hotel industry.
But this is what you're talking about. I think this is belonging to that counterpart guy's character. Japanese, okay, many people tell the truth. Why it kind of happen? Okay, usually that's Sonoda always teaching. What is the righteousness? Okay, righteousness. You tell the truth. You take right action. This is basically many Japanese has kind of culture. But this guy is not have the kind mind of righteousness. Okay, so that he does not tell the truth. But this is not wrong. No, not right. This right. I don't do that. Okay, I'm counterpart of your contract, but I never betray you. But some people betray you. And this case happened, but no way. This case happened. But you don't touch this guy. Okay. In my private life, I had several, not many, but several people. I had kind of people I met with before. I lost money. I lost trust. This sort of things happen. Always happen. But no way. You cannot handle it. But this is that it is. Fact is fact. But you don't need to worry. But this is fact. Sort of kind of person exists in the world.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right. I feel that basically, this is a typical example where probably the negotiators for Airbnb and Booking.com did not build up a trust relation at all with the government side. I'm not saying who is to blame here, but it just didn't happen.
Okay,
it's a very rare outcome of a
negotiation. In many cases, government people is they try to avoid their responsibility. They are not considered for your people. They protect themselves. There are many cases their action is stupid. Right?